Hi, my name's Kelly from The Natural Balance. I'm going to be talking you through a short yoga sequence that you can use for tight hips and hamstrings. So this is great for anybody that sits at a desk a lot, anybody that cycles. If you haven't watched the warm-up video, you might want to watch that first. This is a short yoga sequence warm-up. If you have already, then great, we're going to get straight into it. So we're going to come into a downward dog position first. So just have the feet hip distance apart, spread the fingers nice and wide, and just push the arms down into the mat, looking through towards the ankles, or if you want, further up towards the navel. Taking a couple of bends in the knees here if you feel like you need to, and if not, just staying static, really pushing into the hands and enjoying the full body stretch here. Just begin to bring the head up, looking in between the hands, and just start to walk the feet up behind the hands. So having them hip distance apart here, we're just going to take a forward fold. So just allowing the legs to lengthen, bring the arms into the cradle here if you want, and you can just take a couple of gentle rocks side to side. And then coming back to our neutral position in the center, I want you to bend the knees and just bring the hands underneath the feet as much as you can. So don't worry about bending the knees. You can see here that my chest is resting onto my thighs, and just begin to gently straighten the legs. Now don't worry if you can't straighten the legs. I just want you to practice gently straightening them. So bringing the head towards the knees. And if you're finding this really easy, you can open the elbows out to the side to allow your head to come further towards the knees. And then just gently, just start to bring the head up here. You're going to release the hands, bring the hands back forward, like slightly in front of you, stepping back to your downward facing dog here. Pushing back into the heels there. And taking a few more breaths. Just coming down to the knees here, we're going to go into a little puppy quickly. You're just extending the arms out in front of you, bringing the chin or the forehead to the mat. Slowly coming back up, hands back into that box position. Push back to your downward dog, and then take the left leg up into the air and bring it through up to the top of the mat. We're going to turn the legs so that they are facing along, they're resting along the wide edge of the mat. Tiny little bend in the knees. Now just come up to standing. Bring the hands to your hips here. Open the chest out, bring the elbows behind you. Take an inhale, and then you're going to exhale, forward fold. So you're going to feel this through the hamstrings, you might feel this through the hips. And if you're finding that this is really easy, you can go wider on the legs here. And if you're finding it more challenging, you can take a block and bring the hands to rest onto the block here. But I want you to make sure that you've got the feet slightly turned in and not out to protect your knees. And here we're trying not to lock the knees out, so if you need to, just take a little bend in the knees if you feel like you're shaking. If you want to take more of a stretch, bring the hands further underneath the mat. And then slowly start to bring the body up, taking a little bend in the knees here. We're going to rise up, turn the left foot to face the front, and the right leg to turn facing this way as well. Gently dropping the knee down to the back. Now we're coming into our runner's lunge here, so you're going to lean forward into this left leg. Now you should feel a stretch through the right hip flexor here. And if you have tight hamstrings or any sort of lower back pain, this is a great stretch because the muscle goes all the way through down around here into the back. So just bending forward if you need to, you can make it quite dynamic. And then just gently opening the hip out to the side, so coming onto the outer edge of the left foot, pushing the left arm out so it's nice and straight, but just do as far as is comfortable for you because this can be quite an intense stretch. And then slowly bring the body back up. We're going to tuck the toes of the back foot and come up into our high lunge. So bringing the arms up above you. If you feel like this back leg is bending like this, just trying to straighten it out ever so slightly. And we're going to bring the body back down to the ground. Drop the knees down, and we're going to come into our lizard here. So bringing the left hand on the inside of the left foot, and we're going to lower down, coming onto our elbows. Now again, if this is too much of a challenge for you, it's quite an intense stretch, don't worry about just keeping both hands flat on the mat. Or again, if you have a block here or even just a book, you can bring the hands onto the block here. So just stretching out here, just enjoying this pose. And slowly coming up. We're going to come back into our half splits here. So you're going to feel this in the hamstrings. So bring the toes up to the ceiling and try and keep a flat back as you do this. And you're just gently folding forward over that straight leg. Now, if this is really intense and if you've got particularly tight hamstrings, a lot of guys have this from playing football or cyclists, you can take another block here and bring the hands either side of the body like this. And just gently lean forward if that's a little bit easier for you. We're then going to bring that leg flat, just moving the blocks out from the side of you. We're going to come into our gate pose. So again, turning against the long edge of the mat, taking the left leg out to the side and just lowering the hands down onto the mat. Again, if you need to, variation, if you're feeling this is a bit more difficult, just coming onto a block, like so. And don't forget to take some slow, deep breaths here, because this can be quite an intense stretch through the inside of the groin and on the hamstring here. And gently we're going to release that, move that block. And we're going to come to turn facing the other side of the mat here. So into your box position, tuck the toes, come back into your downward facing dog. And this time just take the right leg up into the air, bring it through up to the top of the mat, and we're going to drop straight down into our runner's lunge on the right side. So again, leaning forward, being a bit more dynamic if you want in this stretch. You can move the leg out to the side, pushing it open with the right arm, that's fine. But just do whatever feels good for you. And bringing it back in, we're going to tuck the toes of the left foot, gently rising up, coming up into our high lunge, lifting the body up. And remember, try and keep that back leg straight. You don't want the back leg bending. So it can be a little bit more intense, but just lifting up. And then again, slowly lowering down, dropping the knees of the back foot, bringing the right hand on the inside of the right foot. And we're going to go into our lizard pose again. So again, if this is enough for you here, just stay here. But if you feel like it, you can come down lower onto your arms. And again, don't forget, you can use the block as well to rest your elbows on. And we're just going to take a few more deep breaths here. And then slowly as we come up, we're going to go into our half splits. So we're going to straighten that leg, extend the toes up to the ceiling, and slowly lean forward with a flat back. And remember, if you want, you can use the blocks either side of you here just to keep the body a little bit more upright. And then slowly we're going to come into our gate pose. So again, turn that left leg 90 degrees, bring the right arm out, the right leg out, sorry, and lowering down onto your forearms here, stretching out the inside of that right groin and the hamstrings there. And then gently you can just start to come back up. I'm going to go into a couple of variations here of a pigeon. So I want you to come back onto your hands and knees here. Spread the fingers wide, push back into your downward facing dog, and take the right leg straight up into the air. Bring it through up to the top of the mat, and you're going to bring the right knee in line with the right wrist, and the right ankle's in line with the left wrist. Now it doesn't need to be totally squared off, but I want you to really push into the shin of the right leg. Keeping the back knee off the ground as well. You're going to lift the arms up. Now again, you're going to feel this stretch through the hip flexor here. If this is a bit too intense, you can drop the knee down. If not, just keep the arms up. And if you want more of a challenge, you can lean forward. We're then going to slowly drop the arms down. Take that knee down as well. Bend the back knee and just reach the hand to the foot and pull on the hamstring there. Then slowly release that down. Take the back foot further away from you so that you're bringing the leg all the way flat to the ground. Taking a big inhale as you lift the chest up, slight back bend. And then we're going to lower down into our sleeping swan here. So you've got the option to come straight down onto the hands and the forehead, or if you want, you can make a fist with the hands and just rest the head on the fists. And again, if you find this is too much at any time and you need to come out, you can just lift up. And one more breath as you slowly start to bring the body back up. Pushing into the hands, tuck the toes of the back foot and kick that right leg up into the air. Bending it out, stretching it out nice and slowly, releasing any tension in the hips there. And we're going to swap sides, so take that left leg up into the air and then bring it through up to the top of the mat. Again, pushing into the shin here. Keeping the back leg off the ground, lift the body up. So again, if you need to, you can drop the back knee. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, lean forward. And then slowly release the hands to the mat, drop the knee, and then just bring the hand around to the foot and take a little stretch. So you've got, again, option this side, or if you find it a bit easier, reach with the right hand. Drop the knee, and then take that leg a little bit further back. I'm going to inhale, lift up, taking a small back bend, and then lowering down to our sleeping swan. And remember, you've got the option to come straight onto the mat, or you can use your fists as a pillow. And then slowly bringing the body back up. Bringing the hands up nice and slowly. Tuck the toes of the back foot, kick up that left leg, stretching it out, really enjoying that nice stretch of the hamstring there, lowering it down. And we're going to drop to our knees here, cross the legs, and just come around to seated. So we're going to go into butterfly here. Again, just stretching out the hips. Now, if you find this really challenging and this is quite tight on the hips and you need a bit of support, you can always just put a couple of blocks under your knees if you're finding it really uncomfortable. But the idea is here that we're stretching out the hamstrings. So opening the feet like a book, bringing the elbows or whichever parts of your arms meet the legs, and just pushing open the hips. Now notice that I'm keeping my spine straight. I'm not rounding the back here. Keeping the spine up nice and tall and gently leaning forward. And then we're going to take one more little variation. You're going to bring the legs out further in front of you into our diamond. Now this time take the arms either side of the leg and you can bring the head towards the feet here. So you should feel this just stretch through the hips here. And then very gently bringing the body back up. Just come to cross the legs, sitting up nice and tall. Extend the spine and just take a couple of twists here on the shoulders. And we're done. I hope you you enjoyed that session. If you want to find more videos like that, then please head over to my YouTube channel. If you want to catch up with all the latest updates from me, then please follow me on Instagram. It's The Natural Balance with an underscore at the end. And if you want to find out more about me and what I do, then please head to my website at www.thenaturalbalance.net.